Perfect. So I will call this regular city council meeting of the City of International Falls to order. Please join me in pledging allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. First item on our agenda is the roll call. Please note that all members of the city council are present. We'll go to the agenda. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the largest agenda I've ever seen.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Councilor Wagner.
Second.
We have a second by Councilor Holden. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. We'll go to the minutes of December 4th. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councilor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilor Wagner. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the minutes of December 4th for the Truth in Taxation public hearing. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councilor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Wagner. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the minutes of Monday, December 11th. That's a committee of the whole meeting. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Councilor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Kaler. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the minutes of the public hearing for the Minnesota Investment Fund. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Councilor Kaler.
Second.
We have a second by Councilor Wagner. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the resolution approving the transfers and claims. We have city transfers going to the 401 public or permanent improvement of $66,666.66. That's coming evenly out of the 601 water and the 603 sewer in the amount of $33,333.33. We have monies going to the capital reserve for outlay, the 403 fund in the amount of $20,567.25. That's coming from the 601 water in the amount of $14,693, and the 603 sewer, $5,874.25 for total transfers of $87,233.91. Accounts payable, we have International Falls claims of $426,864.05, and the International Falls Library claims of $3,297.30 for total accounts payable of $430,161.35. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the resolution for the payments and claims.
I'll make that
We
motion.
have a motion by Councilor Holden. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilor Kaler. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. We will go to audience. Is there anyone in the audience that has anything to bring forward that's not on the agenda? Please.
Okay, Julie Maelstrom. What I want to bring up, Harley, is it saddens me that you did not do anything I asked at the last meeting for cuts. Why? You know, the taxes, the people, they can't afford these taxes at all. And I asked to go through the budget and do a cut. Nothing was done. And why?
The city council had looked at the budget, and we've went through it for the last 6 months. And that's the budget that we needed to move forward.
Well, you work for the people, but you're screwing the people with taxes. People are leaving. The town is little. They're leaving. They can't afford these taxes. But I see why you raised taxes the way you did, because Mr. Broka wants to buy a vehicle for almost $200,000. What's wrong with, where's our graders? Where's our graders we used to use to plow snow? Anybody want to answer me that? Why do we need a vehicle almost $200,000 to plow snow? What's wrong with our truck we got now?
We have gotten equipment that makes the job efficient. We're doing the best with the stuff we have, and it's not that any of this equipment was just a couple years old. We're replacing equipment that is old that needs to be replaced.
For that amount of money, do you have to get a brand-new vehicle?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why? Can't you get one a year or two older that's in top shape? You can buy vehicles like that. It's not going to cost as much money. I see where the taxes are going.
Those units that we bought, Julie, may I?
Yeah, please.
The units that we're replacing, they have to be new. You cannot find a one-year-old one, because other cities don't trade them off at 1 year and don't sell them at 1 year.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't sell these vehicles right away, and just like cars, you know, they're probably 2 years old sitting on the lot.
This truck we ordered is 1.5 years out.
It's a lot of money.
We won't have it.
It's a lot of money.
We won't have it for another year.
Well, I hope they call
Least.
my street every day we have snow.
Well, we put together what we had now that was broke down to fix it so we can get by another year.
Well, it looked like it ran pretty good when it went by my street today.
That's why we fixed it. It runs good now.
I see. Yeah. And I told you before, Broka does not need an assistant. He needs to do his job, get out behind the locked fence. The town is too small. He doesn't need an assistant for this kind of money that they're going to get paid. He needs to do his own job. I know how he operates.
All right, that's not why we're here.
That's
No
exactly what I
personal
was gonna
attack, and he does need an assistant, and he does a fine job. I don't know what your thing is with him, and I don't really care, but he does a fine job. We wouldn't agree to have the assistant if we didn't think he needed one.
But why? It's extra taxpayers' money.
It's the same job now. It's just replacing the water operator. That's what we're doing. And
For that amount of money,
for that job.
for that kind of job, that's why you're putting our taxes so high, to pay for all of this.
You know, that's fine. You can blame me, but no personal attacks on,
Never mind,
Employees.
Pete, I wasn't talking to you anyway, I was talking to him,
oh, all right,
yeah. I'm
Anything
talking
else,
to him.
Julie?
all right.
But anyway, that's what I want to say. It just saddens me. The town has really dropped. You're spending all this money for what? I mean, I'm serious. People are leaving. They're going to leave. They can't afford. They're going to lose their houses. They can't afford them. And, you know, they put you in office. You need to work for them, not screw them.
All right, thank you. Anything else from the audience? Just name and address, please.
Seth Boyer, 1706 Third Avenue West. So not exactly to you guys, but part of a comment, perhaps for the community, with the increase in taxes, if some people have forgotten or if they're not aware, about 6 years ago, there was a vote to increase property taxes over the course of the next 6 to 10 years as it would start to increase. And that was to increase the per-student allowance so that the school could get new computers and iPads for all of the students. And the other bill that passed, because I think it was in 2017, the other one was to remodel the ice arena there by the school. So I know a lot of that stuff was published in the newspaper, so my memory might not be serving right, but I remember when I was going through those plans, a lot of that was set to increase over the next several years. So if it's, because I hear a lot of people coming forward and wondering, why are my taxes going up, why are my taxes going up? And there could be a lot of these other things, and I know people are upset if they see new vehicles and new stuff, and I understand having to buy new vehicles, replacing stuff like that. But if that's, from my understanding, that's where I think some of this is coming from, perhaps, if anyone can remember that. And that a lot of it wasn't set to actually increase until like 3 to 6 years down the road. If that could possibly be part of what people are seeing.
I don't think there's a correlation between the referendum that the school did and the county tax assessor raising values, if that's what you're saying. I mean, the county tax assessor is where the values would be going up, but I don't think he has a rate that they go up percentage-wise. But I think you're talking about two distinct things.
Right, so one of the things could be that they're seeing an increase on their taxes because of that referendum.
Right, yep.
And having been put out several years, now that they're seeing some of that come up, they might not associate it back to, several years ago when that vote went out.
Fair enough, yeah, I can see that.
One of the other things considering that as well, with the different housing market right now, I'm seeing a lot of things go for 2-3 times what they would have normally gone for several years ago, and that normally also affects people's
Values.
because if houses in the area are being sold for double what they would have been a year ago, the assessor's going to come through and go, okay, this $80,000 house is being sold for $120,000. Okay, they've got an $80,000. Okay, now then they're gonna up it that way. And I think what you said last time, if someone needs to go talk to the regular county assessor, that would be the place to start. But just a couple of things from at least my memory that could be affecting some of the things so again, it's not necessarily an addressment to you guys, but something for anyone in the community that if they might not have remembered that, I think it was like six years ago that referendum for increasing property taxes for the school and ice arena stuff.
Yep.
That's that. The other thing I had a question about, with the blight stuff going on, what kind of classification would the blight be under? Is it like a ordinance, or is it a
I would
a
defer
public
to the
improvement or-
city attorney.
There's the more general ordinance of 10-51, 4-20 adopted the IPMC that you have there.
Yeah.
And there are specific sections within the IPMC as well. It can be both.
Okay. So with that in mind, to address anybody that might have a problem with the blight issue going on, in the comprehensive plan put forward by, I assume it was the city council,
Previous city council, but
previous
yes,
city
yep.
council. In that document, different zones of the city are being reorganized, and in part of it, it says that the current land use is not being used for what the plan would be, and that the property owners could voluntarily sell, change what they're using their property for. I can read it out here. some cases, future land uses on a parcel are different than what occurs today. The transition of these parcels from their current use to their desired future use is expected to occur over time in response to the market demands as property owners voluntarily sell, develop, or change the use of their land. Other recommendations will be implemented through planning, zoning, and subdivision ordinances, public improvements, and public and private partnerships. I don't know that there's a comprehensive list of all the people that are being blighted, but looking at that list of places that are getting rezoned, I do know that the zone that I live in is being rezoned to be exclusively manufactured home communities, which I don't have a manufactured home. But since 2019, I have been being blighted. And is that something that is the blight ordinances something that falls under any of that list of stuff as public improvements, subdivision ordinances,
No.
and such things?
No, so what you were looking at is our comprehensive plan of 2020. And basically what you were reading is there is a future where we see changes in the community. And the way you read it, to make it sound in layman's terms, if we do those rezonings, which we have not even undertaken, we've never looked at that any past putting it in here. I mean, this is a living document that'll be years to come. But ultimately, what the wording says is you'll be grandfathered in until people sell the property to rebuild it into whatever the new zone would be. So if your area is a manufactured home area, if that's what the comprehensive plan was to get to, which we've never outlined specifically anything, you would be grandfathered in to use your property for its current use rather than what it would be in the future. But again, the council has never taken any of those zoning moves forward, so.
Right, because if you look on the city website, none of the zoning has changed, but that's
Correct.
what's been put out. And when I read it, unless you can point out to me where it says grandfathered in, it just says that over time through
Through people
property
selling
owner
the
changing,
properties?
or as it would kind of see being helped along towards the direction that the future zoning planning is expected to take.
Mm-hmm.
Where in my case, well, I don't want to move in a trailer home. I have a stick-built home,
Correct.
right? So why would I want to do that?
You wouldn't have to. That's the point of it. It would be grandfathered in. You could keep your stick home. And again, nothing has been ever validated by the council. We've adopted a comprehensive plan, but we've never adopted any new zoning ordinances or anything to move forward to. So everything that's current is what we're moving towards until something new comes from our Planning and Zoning Commission.
Are you familiar enough with it where you could point out where it says that it's grandfathered in? When I was going through it, I didn't see anywhere where it said grandfathered in.
Well, and that's what the long-term wording of being able to sell and buy properties. People could, if we were to rezone that particular property, people would be able to purchase that and build whatever it is that new zoning is. But you wouldn't be forced into changing to something new. I mean, it's no different than if you have our downtown area. I don't want to have a long, drawn-out conversation on it. I would definitely be willing to sit down and talk to you about that. But again, we have nothing in our zoning that we're working on right now that would change any of the zoning for the area that you're discussing or any other areas in our community right now.
I mean, that's just what's in the comprehensive plan.
Betty, could you help me out on this one, on just the understanding of a comprehensive plan? There's plenty of things that are in the comprehensive plan for us to move forward, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing it all today.
Right, as it says over time, but it seems like, I don't know, for someone like me who lives inside of that area, and you talk about property values, and then my neighborhood gets designated to have all of the trailer parks put into it, you know, what,
So shortly down the road from where you live is actually already a mobile home park. If they wanted to rezone your area, you would receive notice. They couldn't just do it behind the scenes. You would receive notice if they ever did intend to do that.
And as of right now, with our zoning board, they've never taken that conversation up. It's not even on the radar of the city right now.
If you, because you already, where you live, you're already amongst trailer houses, correct? Where you live, over there, if I'm thinking of the addresses?
yeah,
Right? Right?
right.
So if we probably wouldn't be changing that any different than it is now, and if we did, you would get the opportunity to still live there in your house. You wouldn't be made to get a trailer house or a modular home. And the comprehensive plan isn't really like ordinances or law, it's just what it is, it's a plan. This is something for us to follow, kind of a guide when we're developing this city. You know, we could do that there, that's what they suggest there, if we decide to rezone it, or whatever, some other zoning, but it isn't like ordinances or statutes or anything like that. It's just like a guide. Ideas.
I get it, that it's
Oh,
the ideas and
Yeah.
the idea of a place to put it moving forward.
Yep.
And understand, like I said, if you look on, obviously I can tell the zoning hasn't changed
Yep.
yet, but it seems, like, I don't know, I'm not the only one that doesn't have a trailer home in that
Right,
area.
yep.
But then you're looking at what's that gonna do to the rest of the property value in the area, you know, for anybody that doesn't?
Right.
Nothing, because it's not being rezoned.
Yeah.
But that's, according to the comprehensive plan, that is the direction that's,
No, they have not said that's the direction they want to take with that particular aspect of the comprehensive plan. Should they decide to do that, it would be at a public city council meeting, and you as the affected property owner would receive notice, but that's not what they're doing right now. Or it doesn't sound like any of them have any intent to in the future.
Thank you. All right, we will go to, anybody else on the public like to bring anything forward? All right, there will also be an opportunity after, or later in the meeting. Next item we have is opening of sealed bids for lots 30 through 32, Block 2, Franson Addition to Kuching, parcel identification 92-109-02300. I will hand this over to the city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have in my possession 3 sealed bids for this property. We will open them in the order in which they were received. The first sealed bid is from Mr. Bob DeSenza.
Actually, before we open, I just want to say the way that this works is we will open them up. Now that I hear that there's 3, because I didn't know that until right now, if there is folks in the room that have put in bids, they are welcome to do a live auction after they're open to move forward. But you had to have put in a bid, correct, to be able to auction on the property.
That is correct.
Thank you, city administrator.
And how we got to this position is we were petitioned to ask to move this to a sealed bid as somebody was interested in purchasing the property which the city owns, and that is the process in which we have to go about when we have available property. Declare it surplus and move this process forward.
Okay, thank you.
So the first one is from Mr. Bob DeSenza, and his sealed bid is in the amount of $1,000. The second one is from Jared Gradeless. And his sealed bid is in the amount of $1,000. And the third one is from Derek Bowler. And his sealed bid is in the amount of $6,431.
All right, we have 3 bids as of right now. The high bid is $6,431. Is Mr. DeSenza in the room? Is, Jared, is it Gradeless?
Gradeless, yep.
Is, Mr. Gradeless in the room? Okay, and Derek Bowler, I see you're in the room. Is there any, since the only one that is in the room is Mr. Bowler, 6,431, I'll give one more opportunity for any of the people that submitted a bid to bid on it. Hearing none, the bid is $6,431 for Derek Bowler. Chair would entertain a motion to sell that property for the $6,431 and authorize the city attorney to work with the bidder to get a purchase agreement.
So move.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Holden. Any discussion? Is that the proper procedure that we need to move forward?
Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the resolution before us approving the final levy and taxes collectible for 2024 and the budget for the city of International Falls. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Any discussion? Or do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wagner. Discussion. I guess I had one question. I thought that we were changing the levy to 9.03, but I could be mistaken on that.
We are.
Since
right there. Okay, I was just reading the whereas from the 9.5. I gotcha. All right, so that was my only question.
I would just like to add, just, not everybody was here at the committee of the whole, for the people that were, we did decide to fund the airport at their full request for this year.
Correct, and there is additional conversations that the city council is having with the county board regarding future funding of the airport. And I think it's going to be fruitful discussions as we move forward. So, any other conversation on the resolution for the tax levy and budget?
I
Here-
think it's probably worthwhile noting that we've dropped all of our city expenditures to 2023 levels with the exception of contracted payroll increases.
Yeah, and Emma had just pointed out that we did roll back all of our city budget to 2023 levels, so there was no increase in any of our city budgets this year, with the exception of contractual payroll. So, and those are all union negotiated payroll, so we are going to be funding the airport. We cut all of our city expenses back down to the 2023 level, and we were ultimately able to lower the levy increase from 9.5, which was originally the levy increase that we were looking at, to 9.03. So that's where we ended up the budget. I have to give a ton of thanks to our finance department, the city administrator staff that was able to work with us, along with the council. I can honestly say that this was the most budget and finance meetings we've ever had, going through a budget, and I think we got to a couple of interesting points with how the city funds the airport, and that's a larger discussion that we're going to continue, along with additional conversations in the community about the ambulance and how, where we're at with that. So it's not where any of us want to be, but we also know that we have a city of 6,000 people to make sure have the services that they would expect. And that is how we got to this position. At this time, I will call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the consent agenda. We have approval licenses for Carter Kittleson, a snowplow license, Cine 5, a restaurant and a theater license, Coffee Landing Cafe, a restaurant license, Dairyland Operations LLC, doing business as Dunkin' and Baskin Robbins, a restaurant license, Northern Disposal LLC, garbage hauler license, Pete Ham Food Service, doing business as Hardee's, restaurant license, Posh Relief, a massage individual license, and Rose Garden, a restaurant license. Chair would entertain a motion to, oh, and one other item on the consent agenda is to allow necessary expenses for up to 6 ambulance personnel to attend the Arrowhead EMS Conference and Expo in Duluth, January 19th through 21st. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilor Kaler. There is no discussion for the consent agenda, and I will call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 6-0. Next, we have the resolution for the Minnesota Investment Fund, which we had a public hearing last week for. This would be providing pre-construction funds, services, and partial facility construction costs for Onesimus Corporation. Again, this would be $1 million of Minnesota Department of Economics to provide it. It comes through the city. However, it is state monies that we just facilitate. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilor Buller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Holden. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a request from the Chamber of Commerce to use Smoky Bear Park and collaborate with the International Falls Chamber of Commerce for the 2024 Icebox Days. Shannon, if you would like to come forward, please.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. Yes, Chamber of Commerce is looking to collaborate with the City of International Falls to utilize Smoky Bear Park for some additional festivities this year, nothing too crazy. And then also, as far as any of the previous past Icebox Days activities that the city's been involved in as well. This is a new event for me, so I've got plans out there, but of course, looking to you guys for some guidance as well.
Excellent. I know in our original conversations, you were talking about having a vintage snowmobile run. That's not looking good.
No, not much in the park is looking good right now, so we got to keep our fingers crossed that we will truly have an icy Icebox Days.
Excellent. Any questions or concerns? Do you have any questions for us on what the city has provided in the past, or?
Well, all I know is, I mean, it's been the typical snow plowing services for the.
Shouldn't have to worry about that.
Yep, so, and that, we might not, no, so, and then the county gets involved with the county road. And then if there's anything in the park, I've talked to Mike Wallace, and he said he's willing to help out. You know, we have a plan, he'll start plowing piles that we need and everything. And then on the day of, the Fourth Avenue will be closed off, and then they'll plow that so that we can have turkey bowling and all those fun activities. And then the fireworks, so.
Excellent. And we've already worked with Chief Manassa on the fireworks?
Well, I have not heard from him, so my letter went out, and he's next on my list to get in touch with, so,
He's got his thumb up in the back room right now.
thank you. Cool.
All right. At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to approve all of the requests from Chamber of Commerce and provide the services that we have in the past.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councillor Holden. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councillor Wagner. Any discussion?
Just, I see the fireworks, Adam, have you talked to PCA about their concerns about, I see they wish they weren't letting off near the park because it lands on their property. Yeah, we'll figure something out. All right, now,
All right. Any other discussion? And just, if you have any questions or concerns, just contact administration. We'll try to work through them.
Cool.
Call the question.
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I will vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you,
very
Shannon.
much.
All right.
So now we're talking.
Now we're going to the 2024 license renewals that involve tobacco, cigarettes, alcohol. So we have the Border Bar Pizza House pool table license, off-sale liquor license, on-sale liquor license, restaurant license, Sunday liquor license, jukebox license, and amusement games license. I say this every year, we really need to get rid of the jukebox license and amusement game licenses and the coin-operated fee licenses. We just always forget because
We can throw in the pool tables too.
yeah,
then?
we can get rid of the pool table licenses as well. I don't think we have a lot of time invested into those particular licenses. The Elks Club, $15.99, a club license, restaurant license, and Sunday liquor license. Espresso Lane LLC, DBA The Library, a restaurant license, Sunday liquor license, and an on-sale liquor license. Family Dollar LLC, doing business as Family Dollar 30058, cigarette license and a 32 off-sale liquor license. High Falls Group LLC, Cobblestone Hotel and Suites, restaurant license, on-sale liquor license, and a Sunday liquor license. I Falls Properties LLC, American by Wyndham, wine on-sale liquor, 3-2 sale restaurant and bar license. Kareem Incorporated, cigarette license, gasoline pump license, and restaurant license. Kareem Incorporated for their second location, a cigarette license, a firework license, gasoline pump license, and restaurant license. Super One Liquor LLC, off-sale liquor license and cigarette license. Super One Foods, a restaurant license, cigarette license, and a 3-2 off-sale liquor. Salty Jester LLC, a wine on-sale license, 3-2 sale restaurant and bar, a restaurant license, and an on-sale liquor license and Sunday liquor license. Timber Pins, on-sale liquor license, restaurant license, bowling alley license, pool table license, and Sunday liquor license. TRM2, doing business as the Chocolate Moose, restaurant license and wine on-sale license. And TRM2 Incorporated Sammy's Pizza, an on-sale liquor license, restaurant license, and a Sunday liquor license. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those licenses.
So moved.
We have a motion from Councillor Buller. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councillor Wagner. Any discussion? Thank you for not pulling my license out of here. Call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I will abstain. The motion carries 4 for the motion and 1 abstention. We'll go to approve the 2024 regular city council meeting schedule. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make
Motion
that
to
motion.
approve the schedule?
Oh, he just did it longer.
I'll
So we're
second.
going to go with Counselor Wagner for the motion and
Second.
Counselor Holden for the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a resolution approving designated polling places for 2024. Chair would entertain a motion for those 3 polling places of the Evangelical Covenant Church, Bob Walls Memorial Union Hall, and St. Thomas Aquinas Hall.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the resolution approving the 2024 wages and benefits for non-union employees. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler. Discussion. Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have approval of the consultant agreement with the Constant Group. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Counselor Buller. Discussion? I just want to make one point on this, because this was something that the council got beat up for a little bit when we ended up hiring a consultant to help lobby at the state level. I believe in the 2 years that we've had them, we have paid about $2,000 a month, 24. So we've spent about $40,000. Is that about right? 48?
4,800.
$48,000 on a consultant, and we got $1 million from the state of Minnesota. So it's a good return on investment. They are also not only working on one project for us, they were working at the state level to help this last year get funding for cities to be able to remove lead lines. That's one of the things that did pass the legislature last year, that the city would be able to utilize in some of the work that we're doing from city services to residential services. They've been working with us on our ambulance funding issues at the state level, and they've been working with our Cary Park project. So we directly got $1 million this last legislative season, and the opportunity to be able to replace some of these lead lines in the city and have state funds for that. So I was even a little bit leery in the beginning, but with that being said, we're definitely seeing the results from that. So I'm very happy about continuing that relationship. We have a motion and a second. I'll call the question. Oh, please, yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
cut me off there, hey?
yeah, that's totally what I was doing.
I would just say 2 things. Number one, this consultant group has not, that I've been on the council, come and talk to us. So I think they should.
Okay,
It's important. Number 2, we need to keep an open mind when we hire these people. There are other ones down there that do just as good or better job. I can tell you that from personal experience.
I
So
would love to have that conversation.
we just need to keep that open. Right now, fine, we need it. Unfortunate, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. That's the way it works, so.
Well,
Please.
can I use that sometime later tonight?
Go right ahead. This is what puts us on the table at the state.
All right, yeah, I got another meeting after this. I might use it. Before the week's over, I'll use that.
I got another analogy you guys can use too later. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, approve the appointments to approve the appointment of primary and alternative representatives to the Northeast Minnesota Regional Emergency Communications Board and authorize signatures for the appointments. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the names that are before you.
Mayor,
Yes?
if I may, I did not have the names in there as we had
names.
sent those to you in a separate email.
Okay.
Because those are your appointments and those are annual that they were looking for to be done at this meeting. So sorry.
All right, it's okay. So the Emergency Communications Board, that's going to be the 2 city employees, correct? That is how that works. You have 2 elected officials for the RAC and 2 for the ECB? Okay. So the ECB, I would like to use the same appointments as last year, which I do believe is Chief Manassa as the primary, and the secondary would be Todd Ojala. Chair, please.
I think you're backwards.
Backwards? Primary would be Todd Ojala.
I apologize, we're on the rack is what I mean.
Oh, I gotcha. So I'm going to put, I'm sorry, I apologize. So it would be Counselor Kaler and as the primary, and Counselor Wegner as the secondary, which I believe is how it is right now on the website, or on the appointments. So the chair would entertain a motion to approve Counselor Kaler and Counselor Wegner.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller, which was really quick to do that, just so he didn't get put on that committee.
Got that right.
And do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Counselor Holden, which was just as fast. We have a motion and a second. Call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the RAC, which is going to be Chief Manassa and Todd Ojala as the secondary. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make that. Oh, go ahead.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler,
Second.
second by Counselor Holden. Discussion? Call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to the Committee of the Whole recommendations. Excuse me. The first one we have is to approve the classification and compensation study. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
All right, we have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Buller. Discussion. Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And I will vote yes. Next item we have is a discussion to continue advertisement for the open paramedic position. We did have a discussion in our committee of the whole about, as we're having these conversations about the ambulance, and we have been running with 2 less people, and the department is running well right now, and as we continue the conversations with our partners, the county, Rainier, St. Louis County, the state of Minnesota, and the federal government on the discrepancies that we have in the ambulance service, I think just financially right now, and I believe it's been concurred by our department head, that just taking this off right now, it's not a position that is filled. So taking it off right now as we kind of navigate these waters would make sense. I open it up to full discussion, and if you'd like to have Chief Manassa to come up to ask questions to, that would make sense as well.
No, but I'll make the motion to discontinue the advertisement for now.
Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to discontinue the advertisement of paramedic. Any discussion?
Just, I think it makes sense at this time. We really don't know where we're headed and how we're good, how it's going. I think it's just a smart thing to do.
Please.
Yeah, and I second it, not because we don't, I'm against the paramedics.
Right.
It's just that I'm on board with Pete on that. It's just time to, as long as we don't, if we would discuss and something would happen, we wouldn't want to lay anybody off. So I think that'd be the wise thing to do.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have the first reading of the section 308, the garbage, or rubbish and garbage ordinance that we have been working on for the better part of 6 months. We had a town hall on this. It was slightly herky and jerky, and I will take full blame for that. The thing of it is we also wanted to discuss that night our ambulance and how that worked. So I had overlooked that we did not have the most up-to-date ordinance at that meeting. Some of the concerns that we had from folks was the dumpster enclosures. In this updated one, 308.2.2, the wording is correct. All multi-unit dwellings and commercial establishments may store dumpsters for garbage and rubbish with an enclosure. It does not make it mandatory. The second thing that I wanted to point out is there is no, on the ordinance, there is no reasoning for folks to register with the city how they get their garbage picked up. So if you haul your own garbage and you do not receive a blight ticket, you will not ever have to confirm with the city how you have your garbage removed. So those were the two biggest issues that we had that evening from folks, and that was oversight on my part. But this is the bill that, or the bill. This is the ordinance that we have before us. This does not make it final. This is the very first reading. So this will, am I correct in this gets published before it's finalized?
That is correct.
So this is the first reading of it. It will be published. We'll have folks be able to read it in the local newspaper, and we'll have a second reading at the next council meeting. So, oh,
I'm sorry, it won't be published until after the second reading, and then it's effective. So
Okay.
the first reading's today, we will put it on the next regular city council meeting, that will be the second and final reading. Then it can be published that Friday, then it's effective.
okay. One thing that I do want to make sure that we do then is I do want to make sure that this goes up on our social media
Okay.
so that the folks in the community can see what the first reading is. And if there is any continued concern, that they have an opportunity to air that at the next city council meeting. We've been trying to be as transparent on this issue as we possibly can, so I want to make sure that it does get out to the folks to be able to see what that looks like.
May I suggest that we publish it before the next reading too in the paper, so
We can do that.
so people have a chance to read it?
I'm fine
If
with
they
that.
don't have them?
I'll see if I can get it in with the holidays and everything.
Oh.
I will
Ooh.
try.
All right,
I'll try.
Yeah,
sounds
Thank
good.
you.
So,
and I just like that it looks like I said everything right on the radio the other day about it, so wasn't quite sure, didn't have it in front of me, but I think we got it covered on there.
all right. So Chair would entertain a motion to approve the first reading.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Counselor Wagner.
I'll second.
We have a second by Counselor Buller. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we go to consider the ALS 360 maintenance program for a Stryker ambulance and equipment. Please, gentlemen, come on up.
Wait a minute. Oh, we missed one.
We're going to still have them come up first,
What?
because I don't want to
I
go
didn't
back.
approve that agenda move.
I think we can probably do that with him sitting here.
Okay. While they're getting seated, why don't we talk about the resolution for the governing the write-in vote? Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Buller. Discussion. Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes. I'm so glad that we went in order. Thank you. Please.
We have nothing new to present. This was presented at the Committee of the Whole meeting. Again, this is the lease program for ambulance equipment, capital equipment, and examples of that would be the stretchers, power loads, stair chairs, monitors, that type of equipment, in an all-encompassing program with maintenance included. And I do have Pete from Stryker here, and also Brian is online from Stryker, so the information that was presented at the Committee of the Whole has not changed. So I guess we're just here to stand for any questions that may be before us.
All right, any questions on this? The only question that, mine isn't even a question, it's just a statement. We've had a lot of conversations about ambulance. We've had a ton of conversations about ambulance and how difficult it is for us to continue to fund it. This is an investment that's how the council's looking at it, is an investment into the ambulance. Because we understand how incredibly important our ambulance and our paramedics and being able to service the folks in our area is. We have had conversations about what our service looks like in the future. The reality is all the conversations that we're having is trying to get our partners to continue to support us in a different light, and to help with what is happening across the region. But today, working with Stryker on a 10-year plan on keeping our equipment up to date, making sure that our paramedics and our EMTs have the best equipment they can to save the lives in our community is incredibly important. So we may have squabbles about how we fund our ambulance, but what we're not having a squabble about is having an ambulance and being able to serve the people in our area. So it's a statement. I'm glad you're here. This is a great opportunity because it does give us some cost savings, which is some of the things that we're worried about. But I have no other questions from the presentation that you guys had given, so. Please.
Just one again is, we talked about it last time, was if we want to get out of this early.
Yes,
What-
there's a municipal rider that's included in this, and that was sent to me after the meeting, and we did forward it to Chelsea, and sorry to put you on the spot, did you get a chance to review it?
I did, and it covers if the city stops existing, is my understanding of it. There is also clauses in here, and I'm gonna kind of bounce around within the contract, is we can assign some of these, we can transfer or assign some of these contracts on the equipment if the ambulance stops existing in the city of International Falls, and they can't unreasonably withhold that. So I feel confident with the municipal rider, along with the ability to assign, because I know the fire chief has a lot of contacts in other ambulance services, that if we had to assign them, we could probably do that if that absolutely became a need. I did have one question, though. Sorry, is that it?
Well, yeah, and I think that was the question that you had, is
What
Can we
do you
get
mean
out?
assign? I guess I'm not sure.
Yeah, so, six,
So if the ambulance changed somehow, maybe different, to maybe not under iFalls as an entity anymore, or maybe
Yeah.
it went away, how do we?
so in clause 6 of this agreement, you can assign it to someone else, meaning you basically say, this is our contract, but we're gonna transfer it to someone else, including all of the equipment, and Stryker is not, they cannot unreasonably withhold that transfer. So I think the city's protected in that respect, whether it's someone else comes into the city of International Falls and starts doing the ambulance service, I do think we would probably be able to transfer there. The other part would be, even if, say, we didn't have a new it's hard to say what's gonna happen in the next 10 years, but say we don't do the ambulance service and no one comes in this particular area to do it, which is not really possible with our primary service area, but regardless, if we had to maybe transfer it to an outside ambulance service, say for example, like St. Louis County or any of those other counties, the fire chief already has relationships established there that I think if we had to outside of International Falls, we could possibly get out of it that way too.
And also remember with that, there is a refresh in the middle of this contract too, so if per se that happens at year 5, then it's just they're taking their old equipment back that they're going to anyway and not reissuing new stuff. So there's different variables that could happen within the time frame and within the contract. But I would agree with, not being an attorney, I would agree with our attorney saying I think we're, from what I've seen, and what I know of the ambulance service, I think we're okay.
I just had one question. So the service part of it is included, and maybe it's not pertinent for anyone else. Is it like a monthly service or
It's-
just like when it breaks?
It's a all-encompassing service, so it includes annual maintenance, which is
Yearly.
what we say we would need on all the equipment.
Okay,
So it's on-site annual maintenance, but it also covers any unforeseen repairs. So if he calls us up and says the cot's not working, somebody comes up immediately and fixes it. If your monitor was out of service, it could even be something like we send you another one, and then somebody comes and looks at it so that you're not out while we're waiting for someone to get up here. But you have reps all over that can help us out.
And we've had that before, it was just a standalone service, so this is just rolling everything into one.
okay. That's all I had.
Perfect. Any other questions, concerns? If not, Chair, no, please.
I have a concern. We don't know where we're going with this ambulance. I think this is a great idea. Don't get me wrong. I think you're right on spot here. My worry is where we're headed with this ambulance. We don't know that far out, and we just don't know.
Well, and so the way I
If it was a
look,
3-year lease, I'd say, yeah.
well, and so the way I look at it, and this is, looking at the PSA, looking at, the area that we have, however this looks, we may not have, if we end up getting into a taxing district where the county takes over, this would be able to be, there's no scenario where we don't have an ambulance service for International Falls and the surrounding area. So just knowing that we can transfer the equipment, that makes sense to me. That's how I look at it.
And I would just echo slightly, you were at the meeting and Councilor Cahill was at the meeting, but the Rams meeting last week.
Oh, my gosh.
What did the Hibbing Fire Chief say about ordering an ambulance? I think there was was it $80,000 or $90,000 increase in 3 months from the time they spec'd it to the time they ordered it. So we're in a world right now where setting our costs and at a fixed rate over 10 years, I think that's very advantageous, and more so on, not necessarily on the value of the money, but to enter into a 10-year contract speaks volumes, I think, to the employees of the ambulance service, and that's an untangible advantage to this. For you to say that we're gonna stand behind you for 10 years and enter a contract, I think speaks volumes.
But what if the entity, if we have enough, as you said,
Yep.
there's gonna be an ambulance, whoever
Yep.
possibly might take it over, says, we don't want them. Then what do? They will take your ambulance service, but we're not taking this thing, right? Or do we have to sign it? They tell us that.
The people that we want to assign to,
Yeah.
they don't have to accept it, no.
There you go. We're stuck paying for it. For 10 years. Either way, right?
I think
Unless the 5-year comes up.
Are you talking about the municipality piece that comes in? That's if the city.
That's
stops
if we go
existing.
broke, right? It doesn't exist anymore. That's the worst case scenario.
And that's really simplified, but I mean, if we had to do some sort of, obviously, the city wouldn't just like randomly, like poof, gone. But like bankruptcy or something.
Yeah.
Then that lets us out.
Are you the only group out there that offers this service?
Within Stryker or?
Yeah, yeah.
The competition?
Is there competition to you?
As far as I know, we're the only ones to offer ALS 360, but that's specific to our equipment.
So that might answer the question right there, so. But if there was another Stryker-style company that offered it, and they wanted that.
Well,
The CDI Falls will hang on to
There are
that.
other medical suppliers that offer stretchers, stair chairs, stuff like that, but they don't have the all-encompassing program currently that Stryker does.
Correct.
And this is relatively new to Stryker as well.
Sure.
And-
And that's my point.
And so I see your point, and I completely get it. What we're doing in the event that we are to transfer an ambulance in the future, we're locking in their costs for the future at a lower amount. So I think that's going to be key to the thing too, and I really respect a ton of the stuff that you're saying, because those are thoughts that don't necessarily always come out at council meetings, but we are struggling in the ambulance. That is real. So having some of these tough conversations really do mean something. But again, any way we slice it, I believe there will be an ambulance service. Locking in this is only a benefit to the ambulance service moving forward. So, again, please.
I think, I can see your concern too, and I had the same concern, but if it got worse got to worse, we'd still be a BLS ambulance. If we needed to go down to that status, and that would still need the ambulances then. So somehow we're gonna at least try to make sure that we have an ambulance service here, and if that's, I mean, nobody wants to go BLS, the basic life
Nobody.
support, but if it means BLS or no ambulance, hey, a BLS is okay then. So if that's one of our options, but it's not a good option, but we'd still need the equipment, we'd still need everything that he's got there with that.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Chair would entertain a motion to move into the maintenance program with Stryker ambulance equipment.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Kaler. Any additional conversation? Call the question,
Aye.
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 and I'll vote yes. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. I know it's a tough conversation, but we're going through tough times too,
I
so.
understand. Thank you all for
I
your time.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Approve terminating the current billing services agreement with the International Falls Ambulance Service and authorize entering into a new professional services agreement for ambulance billing services. First, I'll just have you give a quick outline of what's going on.
Again, no change from the committee of the whole meeting. We've been experiencing some, in lack of a better term, some issues with our current biller since a change of ownership happened this summer. We've been contacted by a different billing agency that we met with, and we're very happy with what they had to say and their experience level, and we wanted to entertain what they had to say. And again, from the committee of the whole meeting, we're about we are $1 cheaper per run, so it's not a huge cost savings, about $1,500 a year, but we're expecting better quality service from a more local company that we can be in contact with. And like I said in my council proposal, I would recommend moving forward with this.
And one of the things that did come out in that town hall where we talked about ambulances is the billing that the city has used, and they even noticed by time, has changed and the service has went down. And I found that really interesting, coming to us from community members, that they saw the difference. They weren't able to utilize it in their normal capacity as they had in the past. And that was the first time I had heard that issue, and then for you to immediately say, well, we've heard this issue, this is how we're looking at moving forward.
And I really like what Administrator Bergstrom had to say too, is we're a service, it's in our title, right? We're an ambulance service, but that service doesn't stop at riding in the ambulance. The service continues with the billing process, being accessible and, helping people along the way in that manner too. So it doesn't stop when we drop somebody off at the hospital, and I don't think it should stop. I think we should have a continued high level of service with regard to the billing and be accessible to that too. So I really appreciated what Administrator Bergstrom, I like that analogy, so I just wanted to share that as well.
All right. So the Chair would entertain a motion to terminating our current billing services and authorizing entering into a new professional services agreement. And I believe that new one would come to the council. Or are you, we haven't seen that at this time, have we?
What's that?
The
What are you
new-
asking?
The new one?
The new contract?
Yeah.
There's a sample contract in the council.
Okay, I saw the sample contract, but is that what we're ultimately going to?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so we have, Chair would entertain a motion to approve the terminating and moving into the new contract.
We'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Counselor Wagner. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Holden. All right, we will call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go into approve the first reading of the contract ordinance for a 1.5% increase in sanitary sewer rates effective 1/1/2024. Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller.
I'll second.
We have a second by Counselor Kaler. Discussion? I just would like to point out that this was not a game plan for the city, but we ended up getting our information from North Cooch Sanitary District, in which they have raised the costs on us, and we need to move those costs to be able to pay the bills.
I think on that note, we need to speak at the meeting, and I believe it's tomorrow, that this needs to come sooner. It can't be this late in the
Yes.
process.
Yeah, like
There's no
September
reason for
or
that.
something.
Been discussed already.
Yeah.
I've talked to her already about it, and so, yeah, but we can still talk about it tomorrow.
It will
For sure.
be.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know that this is not necessarily specifically on this one, but this is one of the issues that we have with all of the partnership organizations that we work with. We get their budgets in almost after after our budget is done. And so now we have to try to recoup and try to figure out how we're gonna fund an increase from the North Cooch Sanitary District. We have already gotten our budget pretty much wrapped up, and then we get our budget from the International Falls Airport. And that's the issues that we're having as a community. That's the issues that we have when we go into budgeting. That is what is starting a lot of these conversations from the city with our partnership organizations, is we can't move forward as a community if we don't know what our bills are. It's very difficult to put a budget together. So, that's bigger picture. So, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 4-0.
Harley,
Yes,
how much is that gonna put more on our bill?
2 cents a thousand.
Yep.
2 cents to 1,000 gallons.
Yeah.
3 cents.
3 cents.
3 cents more on the bill?
Yep.
So we're
Per
good.
thousand.
Per 1,000 gallons.
If you use 1,000 gallons, it's an extra 3 cents on your bill. If you use 2,000, it's 6 cents.
All right, we'll go to the request for advertisement to bid. It's Tower Number 2 rehabilitation. Ted, are you coming forward with this, or is Jason online? Please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tank 2 is on the hill behind South Falls Apartments. It's been forgot about since 1994. Tank like that is supposed to be rehabbed every 20 years, and we're at 30. It's been kicked down the road by previous councils over the years, and it needs to be rehabbed. It was number 1 on our list on the CIP for this year. And other than the county road, it's about the only project we can afford to do this year, but it needs to be done.
All right. Any questions for Ted on that? All right, call for a motion to approve that for Ed.
I'll make that
All
motion.
right, from Counselor Holden. We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Buller. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
Hold on, Ted, don't leave yet. Can I ask him a question?
Absolutely.
So on our paperwork, it says 2 cents.
Is it 2 cents? I could be wrong. But
Yeah. 2 cents per,
was it 2 cents per
from
thousand?
1,000 to,
It's a 3% raise is what it was,
okay.
so.
Well, the 1.5 will make it 2 cents.
The 1.5.
Right, yep,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
and that's what we're going with. That's what we
Yes, but it was a
voted on,
3% increase
the
on what we
1.5.
paid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Perfect.
I knew there was a 3 in there somewhere.
He's counting pennies.
Well,
Thank you, Ted.
Thanks, Ted.
All right. Next, we have acknowledge and accept letter of resignation from full-time police sergeant and declare the vacancy. Chair would entertain a motion to approve those actions.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a second by Counselor Taylor. Any discussion? Call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a letter to accept a letter of resignation for a full-time police investigator effective January 5th, 2024, and declare a vacancy. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that resignation.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Counselor Wagner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have to fill those 2 positions. Authorize filling the 2 vacant full-time positions within the police department. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make that
We
motion.
have a motion by Counselor Holden. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Counselor Wagner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have acknowledge and accept a letter of resignation from head mechanic effective December 19th and declare a vacancy. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler.
I'll second.
We have a second by Counselor Buller. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Again, now we have to fill that position. Authorize filling the vacant head mechanic position. Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion by Counselor Buller. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Counselor Kaler. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I will vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a letter of resignation from an EMT. Chair would entertain a motion to approve that letter of resignation.
So moved.
We have a motion from Counselor Buller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wagner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 And I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Next, acknowledge and accept a letter of resignation from a paid on-call firefighter. Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Counselor Kaler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Wagner. Discussion? Hearing none, call the question.
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes, motion carries 5-0. Any other business to come before us? All right. We'll go to boards, committees, department heads. Call city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just want to thank my staff and departments, all the department heads. We've had a busy year for all the hard work that they do for the city. And thank you as well for the working relationship that we all have. and wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, as this is our last regular meeting of the 2023.
Excellent. City Attorney,
I can't top that, nothing additional.
try.
Yeah, come on.
It's already the longest meeting, just keep going.
I do have one question. How did our blight case go on the last Wednesday with the?
13th?
Yeah, with the containers.
Both of them were anticipated to be contested omnibus, which means contested evidence issues, probable cause issues sometimes. Neither one of them went forward as contested omnibus. They waived omnibus. Both of them are set on a March trial block, which is the soonest the judge could offer.
I'll have to put that on my new calendar. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll go to the police monthly report is in your packet. Fire rescue, EMS monthly report is in your packet. We'll go to the mayor, council committees, boards and commissions. Anything from anybody? All right, I have a couple of things. Myself, Counselor Kaler, and Chief Manassa attended the EMT task force in Mountain Iron this last week. It was well, I'll also say that my wife attended the meeting. She was with me, and everything that we have been saying to the local population on what we're struggling with in our ambulance is the exact same thing as we're hearing from Ely, from Virginia, from Hibbing, from Nashwauk. The problem is not International Falls. The problem is how ambulances are funded through Medicare, Medicaid. The problem is the distances that we have to carry our folks from one hospital to the next. And our issue is this, I was actually slightly shocked in that meeting how many cities, municipalities provide the service and are losing money because their partnership organizations of the counties and the other cities and townships that they serve do not fund the ambulance in any capacity. So when me and my wife were driving home, she said, that was one of the most fascinating meetings I've ever sat through. And I said, this is all the stuff I always say. And she goes, yeah, but when other people said it, it really, really made sense. So we're in the same boat. We were able to get our testimony to the state, and Representative Listlegard and Senator Housechild are the two closest units of government that are working on it on our behalf, along with the rest of the committee. So very happy that we had that opportunity. I did take a phone call from Senator Klobuchar's office regarding the bridge. There is some movement on that. They are looking at how that looks in the near future. There's going to be an additional conversation that I have with them next week, I believe. I did speak with Senator Smith's office regarding the bridge as well. There is concerns on having the federal government be part of the conversation on a bridge that is privately owned by two Canadian organizations. The conversation of building a new bridge has definitely came in. They are having some conversations with Dwayne Hill, which is the Minnesota Department of Transportation that we work with. So there is movement on the federal level about getting a new bridge to Canada. The last thing that, not last thing, I have two more things. Boards and commissions, I have appointments this next meeting for some boards and commissions. If anybody is interested in serving in the community on some of the boards and commissions, we do have openings. I will be putting that out on both my social media page and having the city put it on our social media page, what what positions are open for appointment. And the last thing, and this is kind of a directive for city staff, there was a conversation today I ended up being privy to between Councillor Wegner and Rob Pastor, just having a good conversation about the ambulance, and I happened to catch a piece of it. One of the things that we really need to figure out is our wetland credit and the wetland credit banks. When I first got on council, there was some conversation between the city council at that time and the Army Corps of Engineer, and there was a discrepancy between what our wetland credits were going to be, and we've never moved that forward with the potential growth of our hospital and the work that I believe One Smith, which is online, is looking at doing at the multimodal site. We really need to get an understanding of those wetland credits. So if we can just start looking into what we have to do to finalize, I believe it was somewhere between 27 and 33, but that's in my memory. I don't know that we're not, and I could be mistaken, but I do think we need to really have a conversation about those wetland credits with the Army Corps of Engineer and get that finalized. And that's all I have. Correspondence, we have Coochin County Board meeting minutes, International Falls Public Library meeting minutes. Just a reminder, there is a, oh, I'm sorry, there's still an audience portion. Go back to audience, I apologize. Anybody from the audience have anything to bring forward? All right, hearing none, we have those meeting minutes. Reminder, there is a special committee of the whole, a lunch with the city council this Wednesday, December 20th at Sammy's Pizza. Just an opportunity to sit down, have a lunch with the council. We're all paying for our own meals, but it's an opportunity. Wow.
You were paying.
Yeah, I thought, that's
How
what
about you guys?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you?
So everyone's having water.
We'll have that discussion later.
So anyways, it's just an opportunity. We're trying to reach out and have just conversations with folks in the community. And we've had a lot of neat things that have happened in this last year. And sometimes this is not the most conducive time to have one-on-one conversations with the council. So I would highly request folks in the community to come out and just have lunch. We're just going to sit down and talk. It might be an hour, it might be an hour and a half. But we just want to have conversations with our residents and talk to you frankly about some of the projects that we're doing in the community. So
I just like that, and it's good for the five of us to be able to get together like that and talk, because we don't talk a lot well, certainly not together.
No.
When, in between meetings and whatnot.
No, in fact, it's illegal. It's the weirdest.
Oh, I understand, yes, I just wanted to emphasize that yes, I didn't want to get any more target on us than need be, no.
All right, city offices will be closed on Friday, December 23rd, and all day Monday, December 26th. City office will be closed for New Year's on Monday, January 1st. Our next city council meeting will be next year, January 2nd, 2024. And an inside joke for the folks that are at this table, there will be no December 31st meetings this year. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.